let's move on to Group E, which I have called attacking vibes only. We've got Colorado, we've got Leon, and we've got Portland. Defense be damned. Let's just go win every game 6-9, and it'll be great. Colorado, Leon, Portland. Talk to me about where they're playing. Talk to me about new players in.
All right, Portland versus Colorado is going to be played at Providence Park in Portland. Leon versus Colorado is going to be played at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Colorado. And then lastly, Leon versus Portland is going to be played at Providence Park in Portland. So we're going to have two home games for Portland, one for Colorado, zero for Leon. In terms of signings, let's start with winter 2024. Colorado had a bunch of them, but I'm going to shout out Djordje Mihailovic, who has been a revelation for Colorado this season. He's been excellent coming back to MLS from AZ. For Leon, I have gone for Edgar Guerra, who has come over from Millonarios in Colombia and has played, started every game so far, played almost every minute, and has an assist so far. For Portland, I've gone for Jonathan Rodriguez, who came over from Club America and has done very well so far up top for Portland in the number 9 spot. For big signings in the summer, nothing so far for Colorado or Portland. For Leon, I've gone for a household MLS name, Yonder Cadiz, coming over from Famalicão in Portugal.
I still wish that Nashville kept him, man. I thought there was so much, but like he was the Venezuelan Sam Surge. Like that dude did everything Sam Surge did, but just was South American. And I thought he would have been with them. And they didn't bring him back, which whatever. But
Was he ever with the team when Hani broke out, or was he
yeah,
only there
yeah, he
before
was.
Hani broke out?
No, he was there this. No, I think it might have been he was on loan, and they brought him back on loan again, but they cut his loan short. Maybe somebody can tell us. Somebody can tell us. But let's start with Colorado and our king, our god, if you will, Chris Armas. He who will always be the best. In his first year in charge of the Rapids with a completely new team than last year, has him in a really good spot in the West, currently fifth place, 8 points clear of the drop. This team didn't have a single result in last year's League Cup, zero total points, but it is clearly not the same team in the slightest. Who are you watching?
For Colorado, I already talked about Jordy, so I didn't want to talk about him again. There's a couple players I think you could talk about with Colorado, like Rafael Navajo, but I've gone for Cole Bassett, who I think gets left in the shadows a little bit by Djordje Mihailovic, who rightfully gets a lot of praise for what he's been doing with Colorado, but Cole Bassett has quietly been very, very good as well. A very similar facet. Had a quick stint in Europe, didn't really work out, came back. In this case, he came back to the team he was previously on, and so far this season he's been really solid. I mean, his per 90 numbers have been super strong on FBref. If you look at the comparison to other midfielders, if you compare him to attacking mids, he does a lot defensively compared to a lot of other attacking mids and wingers. But he's got a lot in the box score to show for it as well. 8 goals, 5 assists so far, 13 goal contributions. His best season so far in terms of goal contributions of his career. So I think he's quietly been doing very, very well. And I think he will continue to do very well as long as Colorado continues to play at the level they have been in regular season play.
Yeah, and I'm glad you didn't talk about Jordy because not playing in this tournament. So cool.
Yeah, true.
Player to watch for me, it is Moise Bombito, the Canadian center back who showed really, really well with Colorado, so much so that he earned a starting role with Jesse Marsh's Canada and is now being pursued by Lyon in France. And I'm really interested to see how he holds his own against these high octane attacks. Again, a player that is playing to be seen, right? A player that is playing to prove his worth. Really excited to see how he holds his own here. And one of those high octane attacks that he's going against is Leon, the 2022 Champions League at that point. Yeah, Champions League champions. They head into Leagues Cup under the guide of new manager Jorge Bava, who, like many other Liga MX managers you'll see, took over in the Clausura of last year. They finished 8th last season and currently sit 14th, and they lost to RSL 3-1 in the first round after topping their group in 2023 Leagues Cup. Who are you watching?
Unironically, I am watching Yonder Cadiz.
Get in. I love it.
He's coming over from Famalicão. I'm going to say it multiple different ways because one of them might be right. Um, where he scored 15 goals for them last season. That's crazy. I didn't know he was doing that. Best goal scoring record of his career so far. And he's coming into Leon and he has already hit the ground running. Only 135 minutes played, one start, and he's already got 2 goals to his name. I think this could be a big tournament for him. It's his first time going up against MLS teams again. I think that could help drive him with something to prove. So I will definitely be keeping an eye on Yonder Cadiz to see if he can continue that form.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, man. When I realized that, because I looked at him too, I'm surprised that MLS wasn't all over him. That's the sort of player you've already got him in the league. You've already got him accustomed
Maybe he
to.
didn't want to come back.
And that could have been too, right? So people could have asked, but I feel like if people asked, Tommy Scoops would have said, right? Like that's something that doesn't
Yeah,
just
true.
fly under the radar. But player to watch for me is Fidel Ambriz. Already over 100 appearances at the U20 and pro level. Started all 6 matches for them in their Champions Cup run and has 10 goals as a number 6 for them in his career. And I haven't heard much about him since he only has one El Tri cap. So I'm interested to see how he performs here because, again, if we're starting to see this emphasis on like, oh, Liga MX players need to go back overseas, right? Stop coming home, stop coming home, stop coming home. At 21 years old with this sort of performance, I think he might be another one of those players to keep an eye on. So I'll be watching him specifically in this one. And he will have to deal with a crazy good attack in Portland, the ultimate vibes team. Phil Neville took them from the bottom of the conference to the middle of the pack, 48 goals scored, conceded 39. I mean, this is just MLS 4.0 into the veins. It is the most in either category of the teams that are in playoff spots right now in the West, which he is one of them. I believe they're in 6th place right now. Seventh place, excuse me. This is going to be entertainment central. This team, this whole group will be. But last year they finished 2nd place in their group and then had a first round exit at the hands of Monterrey. Lots of good players in here. Who are you watching?
I went with Evander. He has been unreal this season. He has been in MVP form. And you talked about other players having something to prove to get a move overseas. I think he's got something to prove, but domestically. He came in last year, huge price tag, didn't meet the expectations that people had for him. This year, he's been proving them wrong. He's been phenomenal for them. He has been the key piece in this team that has gone full force MLS 4.0. He has 21 goal contributions, not including second assists. That's a crazy return so far. That is borderline MVP form. I will classify that I don't think he is the favorite for MVP right now, but he has been phenomenal. And you would be remiss to not at least have him in the conversation. So I think he's going to be the key to unlocking Portland's attack and continue to have them attacking so well in Leagues Cup.
Yeah, I like it. I also went with an attacker, but one that I want to see a little bit more out of. And it is a Brazilian by the name of Antony. Left off the page to start the year. 3 goals, 1 assist in his first 3 games. And then he went ghost, a little Danny Phantom, if you will, and had 1 goal contribution in 17 matches. However, he did recently get into a bit of good form again with a goal and 2 assists in his last 3. So which Antony are we going to see? It will not only bode well for their performances if we've got the better of the two, of course, but also for them heading into the playoffs, right? They're right on the edge here. I mean, they're 6 points clear, but with 12, 13-ish games to go, anything can happen. So need to have him firing on all cylinders for them to be successful.
Yeah, we could come up with a good theme song for that reference that you made. Antony Phantom. Antony Phantom. Just dub over the Danny Phantom theme song, but make it Antony.
See, this is a problem with me actually working now is I don't have the free time to make that a meme. But I might dedicate time. Like this episode might go out late just so I can make that meme. But what we won't wait any longer on is your prediction. Tell me what you got for the group.
So I've got Portland at 1, and I feel pretty comfortable with Portland at 1.
Okay.
I have Colorado at 2 right now. I'm almost a little bit tempted to maybe reconsider because Jordy's not going to be there, and Jordy is such a huge part of this team. But I think I'm going to stick with it. I know Leon is a big team. They have a lot of history, but I think they've been not so great lately. Like you had mentioned, Classota, they were 11th, and currently this year they haven't been a ton better. They haven't gotten a win so far. They're 14th in the Apertura. So I'm gonna stick with what I have originally. I'm gonna be an MLS shill, and I'm gonna go with Portland at 1, Colorado at 2, and Leon at 3.
It's fun. I'm glad you did what you did because I literally have I've got Portland at 1. Agreed. I think the vibes are just going to be really good in a tournament like this. I've got Leon at 2, and I put Colorado at 3 specifically because in brackets I've got no DM, no Jordy Milovich. That
Mhm.
is the deciding factor for me. And I know you were fiddling with it too, but see me as a true footballing brain and understanding the game and not just a shill. I know how to make my predictions with my brain instead of my heart.
I mean, in fairness, Colorado has that game against Leon at home. If they can win that game, that could literally be the thing that swings the entire group for them, gets them into the
Yeah,
next round.
and if I was 7'5", I could dunk, right? Like, are we just doing silly hypotheticals here? Great.
And if my grandma had wheels, she would be a bike.